Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ambassadorial Wing. And tonight we are going to be doing a review of the finale for WandaVision. And with me this evening, I've got a very special guest, a first timer to the Ambassadorial Wing, Tim Myers of the Tim Myers Show. Tim, it is a pleasure. And once Big Daddy O John B gets in here, we'll say hi to him as well. But yeah, this past weekend we got the finale of WandaVision, and tonight we're going to spend some time. We're going to break it down, discuss what we thought of it, how it kind of closed out the entire series, and give our thoughts on it, what the impact it might be for the MCU going forward. And Tim, it is indeed a pleasure. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me come on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my channel, my little corner of YouTube, is a place where everybody's welcome. As long as you have a good idea and a good mind in your head, you have a place here. So, and yeah, this, as I mentioned in my little video yesterday, the Three Faces of Fandom, WandaVision, it was pretty good. So, Tim, I've kind of done my spiel. Let's open up the discussion. WandaVision, where do you want to begin?
I guess we'll kind of bring out more of the positive elements because I know everyone's cracking on the finale. I mean, that's the juice of it. So let's like build it up and then really tear it down into it. Because I mean, big questions are like what happened to Vision and all that, and you know, there's just a lot of things to bring up. But I don't know. I felt like, how's it going, Big Daddy O John B?
Hello. How's it going, Kello?
Pretty good. But yeah, I guess I loved it how it started out for like a normal person seeing it at first. That they told me like, well, I don't really get it the first couple episodes, but I was like, but I'm interested, and people would come back and watch it. And as it like took us through like a blast from the past with like the I Love Lucy style shows, and then more current day Malcolm with the Malcolm in the Middle. I liked like how they were really paying attention to detail as far as like how things were shot, and like even the shift from black and white too, and then how they would kind of advertise like the products, how they did back in the day, and even like the commercial style. So I thought it was like brilliant in that aspect. And then it was giving us a little bit of snippets, but when it came to, I mean, it was posing many questions. Is Vision actually real? Are the kids actually real? And all that. And I felt like towards the end, it really was trying to go to like have too much like questions to ask or ambiguity, like where it's like they keep things like you really don't know what's true and what's not, even towards at the end of the thing. I feel like there's just too many questions. And I feel like sometimes even if it's predictable at the end, if it's executed well, I would almost rather see that. But I know filmmakers, you know, they want to keep you guessing and keep you intrigued. And it kind of some people were like, well, that's kind of lazy making predictable. But sometimes if you make it so unpredictable, it's just like it don't make sense or what happened there. So that's just kind of my take on that. So, well, what were your guys' thoughts on that?
John, go ahead, bud.
Yeah. So at the start, like you said, it was bringing up a lot of questions. Like, you know, it was very, very Matrix-like, or like Inception. Like, what is reality? What is life? You know, what is he the real Vision, or is he just a creation of, you know, from her imagination? So it's like, you know, what constitutes Vision? Is he the Mind Stone, or is he from just the sound of his parts, you know, just programming and stuff like that? You know, what constitutes life, you know? Which brings us back to like Commander Data and Star Trek, like what constitutes life, you know? Is Vision really alive? You know, obviously he is, because he's had the Mind Stone, which gave him a kind of like a soul.
Yeah.
But as we all know, that all got destroyed. So, is
Yeah.
it really still
They're-
Vision? Is it really still Vision?
Yeah.
So it was very out there, and it brought up a lot of questions. Not a lot of people like that. Some people just want basic, Avengers explosions and stuff like that. Superheroes
Yeah.
save the day,
Mhm.
and I think that's why people didn't like it at first. Also, it was a little slow. There wasn't a lot of action at first. It took time to get really into it, at least for me anyway. But I stuck with it. The first few episodes, I love the nostalgia, taking you back and all the
Oh, yeah.
references to old classic TV, like the advertisements and the black and white, and and then the color, and then the retro and stuff like that. I loved all that stuff. But I get why some people wouldn't want that. They're like, there are superheroes in this show. Yes. Hello. No.
Yeah. That's funny.
You'll have to quote John Hammond, Tim. You'll have to forgive John's dreadful sense of humor. And quick shout out to the chat, Edric, Sally, and Aaron Entertainment. Hey guys, if you're wanting to join in, I did put the link in the chat room, the Hall of Justice. So if Aaron, I'm pretty sure I added you in there. If I didn't, let me know, and I can send you a link if both of you want to join. But Andrew, I know you're in there, so if you want to join, you know how to come in. So, speaking for myself, working backwards from the big and looking at the beginning of this whole thing, I've always been a person that likes a good mystery, that likes a good not to.
Yeah.
And the series itself is essentially that. It's so.
Yeah.
Hey Andrew,
definitely.
dude, that's cool. And hey, if you didn't like the finale, totally understand. It's completely cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
But
I get it. Me, I liked it. I thought it was good.
Mhm.
It was the ending that didn't do it for me. The wee extra behind the scenes. I think that's what people don't like. But I understand what other people don't like it. They wanted maybe more like the comics, maybe than. But
well,
I think they want to leave some for season 2 because they talk about our season 2. So
are they?
don't wanna. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a minute.
And Aaron, good to see you, bud.
Oh, you too, man.
Hey, I
How's
mean,
it
Hey,
going?
everybody. Good. How
so
are you, everybody?
I think they're gonna have like WandaVision season 2, and then they're gonna have like the White Vision,
I don't.
and it's gonna be
I
like
don't. I don't think there's gonna be a
Sorry,
season
Andrew?
2
No, you don't think so?
because
Oh,
I think if you know about the ending, because I think it's going to lead Doctor Strange to Spider-Man.
I think you're right too. I think it's going to lead into Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. As I was saying just a few minutes ago, this show was essentially a giant nod. It was a giant It was a big mystery, and honestly, I enjoyed the fact. And there have been several channels I've listened to their reviews of it. One in particular, Robert Meyer Burnett, who called this show a slow burn, and I agreed with that assessment on his end.
It turned away some people. Turned away some few people to slow burn.
It does well, and I think that's part. I think that. I think it's a mindset. You have to have that type of mindset to where you like that type of storytelling. Speaking for myself, I do like that type of storytelling, but I do understand where others might not and everything. And I'm not going to berate somebody who doesn't. As far as the finale goes, honestly, I liked the finale. I didn't, I had my theories about X, Y, and Z on certain things, but I wasn't anchored to them. I wasn't married to them to the point where I was going to be completely let down if they didn't pay off. And I know that there were several and everything. One particular, there's a fellow channel, a friend of mine, and everything, LD Jeep. Geeks Love Nerdrotica, he had several theories, and unfortunately, none of them paid off for him. But, and I don't begrudge him that he was a little let down. I can respect that. But speaking for myself, I enjoyed the series. And as far as the finale goes, I was satisfied with the finale. I actually like the fact that the Vision does still exist in the world, and that that we have the White Vision, and it's the evolution of the character.
Yeah, that's why I think there's going to be a sequel, and it's going to be like, it's still me, Wanda. It's still me, and it's like, she has to like bring back her feelings and stuff like that, and we'll ask questions like, is it still him or is it not him? Like I said, there's a lot of questions about what is life. What is he still Vision, even though it's not the same Vision that she fell in love with, or is it still Vision? It's like a clone. Is a clone really the same person?
Yeah. The philosophy scene was like amazing. They had together kind of like a chess play scene with the artifact of Theseus. The way I took it was that the White Vision was a Vision, because essentially that was his original vessel, right? But still had the old parts, but you upgraded it. Like it's like getting a new car and getting new tires and maybe putting a new engine in or something like that, because they used the power of the hex. They sent in that drone thing to absorb the energy to fuel the new Vision. It's no longer fueled by the Mind Stone. But a couple questions that I thought about later is, doesn't you think Hayward or Sword would have a failsafe on that Vision if he decided not to go with the original protocol set for him, right? So I was just like, that's
like a self-destruct something button or something.
Yeah, override button. Like, good, he's bad.
Maybe like Robocop. Maybe like Robocop. He goes to attack Sword and is like, "Sorry, it goes against your programming. You can't attack OCP."
I have a weird question. You know when she turned Agnes back into the annoying neighbor, and she got rid of the hex? Wouldn't that kind of undo Agnes as annoying neighbor and she go back to Agnes Harkness? I didn't fully understand that.
I think that's like its own spell. I think that became
spell?
like its own
spell. Okay.
Yeah.
She'll come
here's
back
the thing.
for her.
I think Wanda figured out how to separate spells to where one isn't linked into another. So even though, because if you remember, she sets that spell, and her and Vision have that little bit of a conversation where they realize they're going to have to end Westview, or their version of Westview. And he's like, I know you'll make things right, but not for us. And then she does the thing to Agatha. So I think those two separate spells are separated from one another, and the ending of the hex around Westview is doesn't undo what she did to Agatha.
Why did they have to?
Yeah, thank you.
Why did they have to undo it completely? Couldn't they just have the house and just them happy family within the house?
The town looked better, man. The town looked better. When everything went down on Hex, the town didn't look that good.
It's true.
I think. Well, the problem was everyone in the town was still bound up still connected by the spell, the original spell that Wanda cast, and she realized that these people didn't deserve to live in this illusion any longer. And the only way to reverse it was to completely undo it. Now, we will get to the... Go ahead, Aaron.
They even said, it was a beginning episode, right? When all the townspeople were on the ground in pain, one of them says, just let us die.
Yeah.
I think everyone might have this one. The whole Quicksilver with Ralph Bono or Bonner or whatever.
Boner.
Boner. The whole necklace thing put on by Agatha or whatever. And so did she grant him temporary powers, or did that thing give him powers? Or
I think that thing actually gave him powers. That was my impression.
There was just Disney to troll us to put him in there. Evan Pierce put him in there. It was a complete troll job.
Yeah.
It worked.
Oh yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, I had so many theories. Was this the way they were going to bring mutants in because he's a mutant, and then it turns out it's a red herring, essentially.
I'll tell you something. I was listening to John Campia. With Robin Burnett. Robin Burnett is convinced Wanda was a mutant from birth because she had the powers from birth. But I said in the chat, I don't think I'm being alone, that she was prophesized by the Darkhold to be the most powerful witch. So I don't know if that's mutant, but it was prophesized. Yeah. Remember, Agatha said that.
Well, the tricky thing about Wanda in this particular version is they didn't have access to the X-Men lore because it was still under Fox rights, 20th Century Fox rights. So the issue became, how do you introduce a character like Scarlet Witch or Wanda Maximoff and Pietro, Quicksilver, but not have them be mutants? And they figured out a rather ingenious way. And once I have the time, I'm going to do my video on the characters that have been powered or influenced by the Infinity Stones and discuss that a little more in depth. But using the Infinity Stones to grant characters powers was their best bet to create a Scarlet Witch and create a Quicksilver. So I think them adding in the little bit of continuity to back in her childhood, where it turned out that she did have inherent mystical powers, maybe through bloodlines or whatever the case may be. I think that was a pretty good move, and then the fact that her powers are triggered or activated by the Mind Stone was actually a pretty ingenious move, because not only does it create this idea of people being able to be empowered by an Infinity Stone, but it also doesn't break the lore of the Scarlet Witch of her being a mystic user.
Yeah.
Because go ahead, John.
Sorry, I still hope that they, have her connected to Magneto though, because otherwise there's going to be a lot of unhappy fans if it doesn't show that she's adopted or something like that.
Yeah, and that's entirely possible. They could throw that into this current continuity, because the thing you have to remember. This is a adaptation of the Scarlet Witch. This is not the Scarlet Witch we're accustomed to seeing in the comic books. Now, in the comics, in that video that I showed you all back last week, with comics explained.
That's probably why other people don't like this show as much.
Act as a tutor or instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, honestly, this particular adaptation of the Scarlet Witch doesn't bother me. The fact that she may not be a mutant, but I know for others it might.
She still could be. I mean, maybe she still got mutant DNA, and maybe that's why she's so powerful. So they still could go into it, but I don't know if they will.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the Hex, messing with people's DNAs, like Monica Rambeau? Was she already acceptable towards the Hex type power? Because similar to Wanda? What do you guys think about that?
Aaron, John, go ahead if you want to.
Well, with Monica Rambeau when ran the Hex the first time, right? And she got blasted out of the Hex by Wanda. And then you see in the lab, Darcy was looking over her whatever, scanning her body, whatever. She says there's certain stuff different as with her body, right? So it's coming out of the Hex.
Yeah.
I think when she went back in the Hex on her own, obviously that whatever from the NASA whatever didn't work. When she went back in the Hex, I think it completely, fully gave her the powers, the ability to fully transform her into giving her the ability, the powers. Now she has to learn to use it. And
what about
I guess there's Secret Invasion. That they're gonna make Captain Marvel her mentor, aren't they? Oh no, please no.
Yeah. No, I think they're talking about Nick Fury. I think they're talking about Nick Fury in the ending of Secret Invasion.
I hated that ending. See, with the Skrull, I hated that. Any reference to Captain Marvel, I'm like, no, I want to forget. No.
But she's gonna be Captain Marvel too.
it's like I was excited for the whole Skull invasion thing, and then Captain Marvel happened, and now I'm like, I really don't care anymore.
Yeah, people are saying Monica's going to be Photon instead of Captain Marvel. Is that, you guys think she's going to be Photon? I don't really know the difference. Like I don't know the comic like hardcore, but I heard the name Photon.
Yeah,
well, actually,
I've heard that, but I always thought they were the same. I could be wrong.
Well, the thing you have to remember is her mother's call sign was Photon. Monica didn't have a call sign. Now, actually, Monica Rambeau in the comics, I did do a little bit of research on her character. She's actually called Spectrum because she can manipulate energy fields to varying degrees. So I think that's where her call sign or her code name comes from. As far as her being in Captain Marvel 2, I'm not opposed to it. I know not everybody liked the first Captain Marvel.
No. I'm not opposed to it. I just probably wouldn't watch it.
And that's cool.
I may watch it for her.
I mean,
because I like this actress. This actress is more engaging. She's quite good, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. You know, me and Mam Ambassador, we went and saw Captain Marvel when it released a few years ago, and we walked out and we were entertained. We enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't like knock your socks off incredible, but it wasn't bad. I mean, I know Brie Larson gets a lot of flack for her behavior off screen and for some of her ideas politically and socially. Me, I separate the art from the artist.
And some on screen.
Whatever. I'm not here to debate politics or social stuff with people. I'm here to talk about the movies. So
I know.
But
there was some cringy moments in that movie, like the whole attacking the biker guy. I did not like that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, but as far as this movie or as a series tying into Captain Marvel with Monica Rambeau, I'm cool with it. I'm fine with it. It, we'll just have to wait and see what they do. We'll just have to wait and see what they do with it as time goes on.
Maybe we'll be lucky and she'll be Captain Marvel's replacement.
And and that may be entirely.
Rogue
Captain Marvel.
Rogue puts Captain Marvel into a coma, and then she takes over.
And
I could see her give. Oh, I was gonna say I could see her getting I could see her getting a spin-off, like Monica, like maybe a movie with Captain Marvel, but then to give Monica her own little journey. So like, because people seem to like Monica. I did like the Monica character. Yeah. She was pretty. I don't know. She just has it. You know, she has that like believability.
She has that likability. She seems like she has a very good personality to her. Her character is intriguing. So, I like the fact. Now, as far as how her powers manifested, I think honestly it does come down to her going in and out of the hex as many times as she did. I think this is also them setting up people being exposed to what was it called, CMBR, cosmic background radiation. That's going to be your in for like the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So down the road, but that's I think that's a year or so down the road from where we're at currently with the MCU. But
Feige said they're looking for writers for Fantastic Four. So they're not close to making decisions on Fantastic Four.
I'll do it.
No.
I'll do it. I'll write it. I know Fantastic
Four. If that's the case, they're not close to X-Men either.
Yeah.
What about this? I think you're right. Yeah, they're not.
What about the stakes of actually when she releases the hex? Because where were all the other Avengers? I know what time frame it takes place, but they were still out there. Were they all just so far off grid? Because this didn't take place in just one day. It was over a period of time. So do you think they were just like
New York is right there, right? Like New York is right in New Jersey.
Well, that's why everyone thought Doctor Strange was going to show up. All this magic is going on. You would think he would detect it and show up. Like, what's going on here? I detect Magic
definitely that
disturbance in the Force.
yeah, I feel it. Oh, yeah, because she has that chaos energy or whatever. But like at the end, she has that little Monica Rambeau moment with her, like that. You go, girl. I would do the same thing if I would bring back my mom and all that. And it kind of completely overlooks like everything that happened. And the way you could look at it is like she's so powerful. Everyone that was around, who's gonna get in her way? Like, I mean, even if they brought back like what's Captain America gonna do to her? He didn't have a Thor powers at any time, and it just
They did say she was more powerful than Doctor Strange in this.
Yeah, the Darkhold does mention that.
She could be. Yeah, she could be. She could be if she realizes her potential. Yes.
Yeah. I think Doctor Strange would outsmart her like Agatha did earlier, right? But maybe later. Yeah,
and that's what does it.
Agatha was always one step ahead, like throughout the whole thing, because she was aware the whole time, and then how she lured her into that little basement with all the what are those called? Those
runes. The runes.
Yeah, the runes. But later on, Wanda used that. Somehow, Wanda learned that trick or remembered it, then did it to her.
Smart.
So. Yeah, it was cool. I did like that.
That's the one mistake. That's the one mistake. That's the one mistake Agatha was making, revealing that the runes.
Oh yeah,
I am happy they did that because you know how I thought they were going to end it. I thought they were going to do like the Hulk thing. You want all my power? Take it all, and she can't handle it all, and then she explodes or something like that.
Yeah,
I was like, please no, we've seen that too many times. Yeah. So I'm happy they did it this way.
I think the overall theme, like the whole thing, is about like power and control. If you look at Hayward, you look at Agatha or Agnes, the whole time the greed of power takes over, like thinking straight, because she got banned from the Salem witches at the start because she wasn't supposed to. She went against the creed, and then later on, she was still seeking more and more power, trying to observe Wanda, going back with her in time of her childhood, learning where she gets her power from, trying to figure it out for power. Wanda's whole thing was about control, not so much power, but you need power for control to a degree, right? Yeah. And then like Hayward, the whole thing is building White Vision as a weapon. And the conversation he had with Wanda about like, they need a defense. Like they have people like Wanda. You need like something to match it, like a failsafe. So Hayward was kind of like, that's all he was. He didn't have like a moral compass in a way. It was just all about power, and he wasn't thinking all the way through. So,
yeah. Well, and here's another thing that was at play during the whole series was this very much was Wanda having to come to terms with Vision being gone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, geeks.
100%.
Just hold your britches, dude. Just hold. Oh, wrong thing. Just hold your horses, son. The big thing for me, with the series was, particularly once we got like 3 or 4 episodes in, I started to understand what was going on, and I realized that this show very much was centered around Wanda and her trying to grieve for Vision. I was like, okay, I can understand what they're doing here.
Yeah. When Big Daddy John B mentioned earlier about like Inception and Inception and Shutter Island. I love both of those movies with DiCaprio, but really the underlying thing there is like letting go of your past. Like at Shutter Island, he has that line saying, "Would you rather live your rest of your life as a hero or the villain?" And at the end, he is aware he's created all of this stuff, but he'd rather be the hero and live in that that lunacy or whatever this fake world he created. So that's kind of what Wanda is in this. She's living in a false reality. So yeah, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on, John. I see what you're doing. All right, here we go.
Hey, sorry about that.
No, it's all right, bud. No worries.
I'm working on my phone. Sometimes
You're right,
I lose
man.
connection. It's not the best one. Sorry, as you were saying,
okay.
Kylo.
I had mentioned about like Inception and Shutter Island. If you look at those, it's about like not letting go. They're both kind of mind benders, but you're living in the past.
Oh yeah.
So reminiscence this.
Yeah, it's a good story about how to deal with loss. Like,
yes,
she couldn't handle it, so she tried to, hold on to what she had and bring it back. But, eventually she's got to realize, it's not really Vision, it's only her interpretation of Vision. So it might be like she remembers, but it might not even be exactly 100% Vision. Because he said himself, I'm not flesh and blood, and then they use the analogy of the ship. If you take certain planks of wood from the ship, is it still the ship? If you replace those planks, is it still the ship? If you give it a paint job and renew it all, is it still the ship? Which one is the right ship?
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, here's the thing for me. In terms of Vision, it isn't his body that makes him who he is.
Yeah.
It's his memories that make him who he is. And, he says it there very poignantly at the end. And let me bring in LDG here. Hey, LDG, good to see you, man. Been a while.
Hello. Yes.
Hey.
I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Good. And glad you're here, man. Been a while. It's been a little bit. Glad to have you on.
Absolutely.
So,
let
Tim,
me mute myself on the other room. There we go. All right. Yes. WandaVision. Shoot me in the face. What's going on?
No, I'm not going to shoot you in the face. Tim, this is LDG Pixels. He is a good friend of mine.
Hello.
LDG, I think you know John,
nice
and I think you may or may not know Aaron. So, LDG down here, he's a cool little not a little channel, but he's a very cool channel. Really cool guy. Yeah. If you have any tech issues, he's like he's like the Doctor Strange of computers.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
He's the master of the technological arts. So, just let me get this.
That's why I'm doing it on my phone, because my computer is.
Just let me say this real quick, and then LDG or one gentleman, you gentlemen can chime in. The thing for Vision is, as I mentioned, he said this very poignantly. First, I was a voice without a body. And then I was a body without a will. And now I'm human, seemingly, because if you remember, he shed that one tear. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, now that the White Vision has all of his memories, Vision is still essentially alive. This Vision's going to have to work some things out, obviously. But Vision does live on outside of the hex, outside of Westview. So, and just real quick to the chat, Moira good evening, madam. Good to see you as always. It's been a little bit, and glad you're here. So, thank you for tuning in. So, gentlemen, go ahead.
That's what I hoped that they did with Star Trek. Remember how they gave the other Data the memory chip?
Before.
Before. I hoped that he was going to be the next Data in Picard, but then it turns out, he wasn't advanced enough. He couldn't handle it. So, I was a bit disappointed in that, because I thought that was them bringing back Data. Turns out it was just something in Picard's mind.
I'm gonna admit, I was confused. Like when he passed his consciousness or the memory into his head, I was expecting him to, like when I saw him first shoot out, I thought he was going to change colors and then go dramatically into battle. and the other one would just kind of lay to the wayside or
Yeah.
maybe help or whatever. But
Me too.
totally.
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah.
Because the original Vision, whatever, he changed colors like Thor, or when he looked at Thor. But go ahead, LDGP Pixels.
Yeah, I don't know what the consensus on that is. When I watched that scene and listened to it, I don't think he put anything into him. I thought he just unlocked his brain. He just basically restored the memory files.
I may have misspoken there. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, if I remember correctly,
he always had them, but they were blocked.
Mm-hmm. It's like you can't erase your memories that easily, and then he just his energy went into him. I get that because that's what he does, right? He has to go in there and do something. But it was like he brought his memories back, and then you saw those memories, the ones that the Hex Vision did not have. He didn't have any of those memories. He didn't know what the heck after he was created. It was like a brand new Vision. So you saw all the Age of Ultron, Endgame. You saw all those memories coming back, which basically you have Vision's body.
I love that.
Vision's memory equals Vision. So then that's when he said, I am Vision, because that's the real Vision. And then the dramatic, where the hell are you going? Disappear act. Not a fan.
And I can understand why you might have a grief about that. I think honestly, for me at least, they want to keep the action focus between Wanda and Agatha. This was Wanda's fight. I think honestly, Vision. Yeah. I think Vision honestly would have been out of his depth in this particular battle. I mean, yeah, he has that head beam. He does have his phasing powers and so on. But this was Wanda's fight, and I think they wanted to focus it between the two, the protagonist and the antagonist. I thought that was a much wiser move. But again, that's me. That's me trying to look at this from a storyteller's angle and say, okay, what the heck? All right, computer's acting weird this evening. Don't ask me why. It just says, but it made sense to me narratively, the fact that they kept it focused between Wanda and Agatha and not trying to involve a bunch of other people. I mean, you had Monica there, I think, as a kind of a defense for the boys, because the boys can handle themselves, but at a particular point, Vision wasn't there and Wanda wasn't there, so you had Monica there as a stand-in. So I can understand where people might be who are kind of action oriented, might be going, well, wait a minute, you've got all these other heroes, and then you've got Vision going off and just disappearing into the atmosphere. But I think for him,
at the same time, you have to think so. He's just got his memories back. It must be a lot for him to handle and a lot for him to go through. So maybe he needs some time to think and he has to think, is he the Vision that fell in love with Wanda? He didn't spend all those months in the Vale, so he didn't get married to her, he didn't fall in love, he didn't have kids with her. He was the Vision just before all that, so it's like he doesn't have the same feelings he still has the feelings, but not to the same level, So it must be all very confusing for him. It's like, what makes the human? Is it our memories? Is it our heart? Is it our soul? What makes human beings alive? What constitutes life? Does the soul even exist? It's hard to say. I'd like to think so, but it's the same.
I have two questions to bring up.
Sure. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, so what was the point of White Vision? Just to take out the other Vision? And two, how could Hayward see Vision? Couldn't they see his Vision in the Hex, like the metal that he had? Because he was the special Wakandan metal, right?
The vibranium.
They could see the vibranium on the thing. So it's just how? I mean, if he's not an actual thing, so just confused on that.
I think at one point they were tracking him, but at the same time, they weren't like it wasn't an active track, particularly once the majority of the team moved into the hex itself. Once the barrier started to break down, where they could get in. As to your other question, his primary objective was to take out Wanda. That was what he was programmed. Yeah, he was programmed to take out Wanda, and then of course you get him tangled up with Vision, the other Vision, and they have their debate, their philosophical discussion, and that's the way. Honestly, that's the way Vision does fight. He does have these powers and abilities, but his best weapon is his mind, honestly. Yeah. And in the comics, that is very much the case there as well. So,
gotcha. But I don't know. How would it even match up to Wanda, like the White Vision? Oh, good.
I think they were hoping it'd be like the Terminator with John Connor. He would get close to her with, enact on her emotions, and then, before she knows it, she's dead,
That's exactly what was going to happen. She saw this Vision, remember? Then he grabbed her head, was going to squeeze her head to death. It was going to go basically.
See, if the other Vision never came in, she could be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think though. I mean, okay, so we got to work with a lot of the mistakes they made during this production. Ones that so someone like, myself, bled through the screen like the blood on Dottie's hand in episode 2. But dealing with even that, you got to look at it. I look at it a certain way. So he wasn't reprogramming Vision, and he said it over and over again. He's just trying to bring him back online. He's trying to take them apart, put them back together, and bring them back online. There was no mention of reprogramming. It wouldn't make sense because what makes Vision is his AI, and you don't reprogram that. Like, there's a difference between writing a website and bringing in an artificial intelligence online. You just don't reprogram that. It's not the same thing. Second, if they did reprogram him, that whole logical scene doesn't make sense. If he was hard coded, right, he wouldn't have stopped to have a conversation with Vision and wouldn't have been able to be swayed through logic. He would have been hard coded not to just to whoop some butt and kill and do whatever they told him to do. But it looks like me is
he still had the logic part of his brain. He still had the processing. It was just the memories that he didn't have. So it's like he had the same intelligence, the same way of thinking, just didn't have all the memories. It was like again to bring it back to Star Trek. It was like the clone
memory.
Yeah, it was like the clone. Remember in Star Trek Insurrection, I think it was.
You're thinking of Nemesis.
Nemesis, yes, sorry. Star Trek Nemesis, where they had the two Picards. One was brought up in Remus, the other was brought up on Earth, and then later in Starfleet. So it's like, what makes life, what makes us who we are. It's all about, our experiences. So if you take away those experiences, you still have the same mind, the same abilities, just you're a total different person. So all they did was they somehow, I don't know how, but they somehow blocked his memories. Like, that, like you said, it's very difficult to mess with AI, but, somehow they managed to do it. But at the same time, he's also still technology, so maybe it is possible,
Sounds like the people from SWORD sounds like the people from SWORD are just not as smart as Tony Stark and whoever else put them together, right?
Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, they took Vision to Wakanda to try to separate the Mind Stone, and even the woman had a hard time. Like I said, there's too much here for my brain to connect canon when you're dealing with the way they try to present this story. I think what they did is they basically did a Jurassic Park. The parts that we're not supposed to get, they just filled with frog DNA. And that's like our imagination just to try to connect the dots. I mean, we're not going to be able to connect the dots with pure dino DNA. We're going to have this hypothetical conversation about it, and that's just because of the way they did it. And even though I'm not happy about that, that's the story we got, and we're going to have to go with it moving forward. As far as Vision is concerned, I took it more of they kind of reinitialized him, and it's almost like reinitializing a hard drive when you just kind of format it and reinstall the operating system. But the data that was on the drive before is still there. You just got to know how to unlock it, and I think that's what Vision did. And then as far as Vision saying he needs time, no, I disagree. Lazy writing. You could have had Vision coming back and fighting in Agatha, like, because she was super powerful at the moment. She could have incapacitated Vision, but he still could have, the White Vision, he still could have been in the storyline, contributing, not just bouncing. Now they say maybe that he needed time. No, when he finished and his eyes turned, he says, "I am Vision." Like, he knew the second he was done who he was. There was no question. He wasn't like, "Oh, who am I? I got to go contemplate, blah, 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 blah." He says, "I am the Vision." And then he knew who he was. Okay. Just like Data, when he got his brain circuits. Remember when Soong called him and he had missing engrams? The second he turned those engrams back on, oh, my bad. All right, cool. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't need time to reflect that he just stole the Enterprise. You know what I mean? He just, boom, done. I'm good. And I think Vision should have worked the same way. Now, the lazy part is, so you're telling me they couldn't get Vision back without the Mind Stone, and all it took was for another copy of Vision to do the surgery? Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch right there, right? But I'm not complaining. We do have the right Vision back, and hopefully we see him more in some more episodes. But him bouncing like that was lazy writing. There was no explanation, and unless they should have showed us something, just showed us where he was going, or because honestly, the first place I thought he was going to go was go whip Haywood's ass, and then try to come help freaking Wanda, and then like I said, at that time the powers being exchanged were so huge they were even beyond Vision, and Agatha could have just blasted him like miles away or something like that, or put him inside held him down in some form or fashion and took him out.
Well, and I think, and LDG, I do get what you're saying in terms of him just reinitializing his systems and then just leaving the situation. But again, I have to look at this from a storyteller's perspective. You want to keep the story focused on the characters that are involved. And for one thing, this story is centered around Wanda. It's not centered around this brand new Vision. Now, we might get a series or we might get a movie where he pops up again. And hey, if that's the case, cool. I'm all for that. But having Vision trying to butt into this fight where it's mystical powers battling mystical powers and he is a work of science, there has been in a lot of other media that deals with these two dynamics, oftentimes magic trumps science. I mean, okay, I know this may be a bit of a touchy subject, particularly now, but in season 4 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you have a government agency called the Initiative that's trying to meddle in supernatural affairs, and it turns out they are woefully underprepared or out of their depth when they do it.
Was that the villain Adam? Is that the villain Adam in that season?
Yes, the cyborg zombie Frankenstein amalgamation. I think you want to keep the focus on the conflict between Agatha and Wanda, and having Vision trying to muck around in there just it wouldn't fit. It would, at least to my perspective, it would not fit. I mean, this would be like tossing the Terminator into Star Wars. Again, it just wouldn't necessarily fit into the universe that the established awesome, universe that already exists.
That would be awesome, though. I've come back to kill Anakin. I've come back to kill Anakin Skywalker. Come with me if you want to live.
There's from a DC. Oh, Tim, you could go.
General Grievous was kind of like the Terminator in the Star Wars universe in a way, because he was like robotic enhanced, like the Jedi killer, right? But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like the fight, it's like look at Superman, and then whenever he goes to like, he's super fast, physically, a god, but when he goes up to someone that has magic, there's no chance. I mean,
exactly.
Far away. And,
let's look at DC for some. Look at Batman. Batman's heavily focused on science. He's major in science, right? But when he say figures up a magic user or he has something supernatural, he'll go to somebody like Santana, Constantine, because he knows science will not always win. He needs somebody that is enough magic, and he'll say that magic is a type of science. He'll say that, but
yeah. Ambassador, let me ask you about that. Like in the Thor movie in Asgard, they say magic is science.
Yes, they do.
Don't they say that in Thor?
Well, yeah. It's in Thor. It's actually in the first Thor where that line comes up. But the thing is, their science is so far advanced compared to anything that we have. To us, it would appear as magic, but they understand it as pure science. But to our thinking, at least to somebody who doesn't have a really heavy scientific background, it would be, you could interpret what they do with the Bifrost and with Mjolnir and all their other technology. It essentially is, it would look like magic. It's kind of like
Tony Stark.
To kind of borrow a little bit of lore or a little bit of dialogue from Star Trek, and I think particularly Star Trek TNG, Next Generation. There's an episode where they discuss bringing a less advanced race onto the Enterprise, or there's a conversation between a couple of the main crew where they're discussing, well, to a less advanced mind, what we do here on the Enterprise could be perceived as magic, but we know it to be science. And with any type of magical material in a fictional world, it operates and functions by its own rules that have been already pre-established by numerous people that work on these particular storylines or these characters. I mean, you're quite literally, you have two dynamics at work within WandaVision and even in the Avengers. You've got essentially, we'll just use WandaVision as our example here. You've got Wanda, who is a unknown mystical arts user or a magic user whose powers were triggered by a cosmic force, particularly the Mind Stone, one of the Infinity Stones. And then you have Vision. I mean, the Vision that doesn't have the Mind Stone no longer installed is a piece of science, in a manner of speaking, is a piece of technology, and technology is an offshoot of science. And you have these two dynamics at play here, but they don't necessarily mesh. So, and just real quick to the chat, Sir Nerdlot. Hey, Nerdlot, if you want to join, the link is in the Hall of Justice chat room on Twitter and everything. If you're free and you want to pop in, the link's there, bud. So, any thoughts on anything I just brought up, guys?
Yeah. So, I believe Tony Stark once said, "There's no such thing as magic. It's just science that we haven't, we don't know yet. That anything that magic could do, he could recreate using his technology." And just look at Vision. Before he was this mystical being created by Wanda and magic, he was created by science, and they did the exact same thing. He was the same being, he was the same person. It was just, one was created by science and the other was created through magic. So yeah, basically, there's not a lot of difference between the two. science is explaining so much. Like thousands of years ago, we thought the world was flat, and now we know it's round. Now we know we're not the center of the universe.
It's not flat? I didn't know.
Oh, it's that. Science is forever expanding, and as we expand, we learn more and more each day. So who knows in 100 years what we'll know or what the world will look like, but there's always going to be that one aspect that science can't explain, which it comes into the realm of magic and fantasy. Like that's why we still have the belief in God and stuff like that, because science can't explain. Science doesn't have all the answers, at least not yet, anyway.
I have a big question that's driving me crazy about Vision, the White Vision. So we got it was the Mind Stone that powered the first Vision. So they used Wanda's the energy from the Hex, and somehow that's infinite energy. Yeah, I do know Wanda derives her power from the Mind Stone. It's kind of embedded her, right? That gave her that Scarlet Witch like entity inside of her, kind of like if you look at Phoenix or whatever into Jean Grey. But where I'm going back to Vision, the White Vision, the energy they absorb from the Hex, that's infinite energy, so it's going to keep Vision powered like forever, like the White Vision.
It was more of a catalyst.
So that's
I think it was more confusing to me. Yeah, I thought it was more of a catalyst.
Yeah, I think that was essentially just Tim. I think that was just kind of a jump start. Once they were able to jump start him, he could just go. Basically, think about
that was this for, right? Wasn't this his like Tony Stark, a micro Tony Stark heart in his forehead now?
Possibly.
Something like that, maybe. Possibly, yeah.
That's what I was reading. That's what I was looking into. That's basically what that is. That wasn't like a microchip. That's his power source. That's why he was able to still shoot the beams.
Okay.
I do know later on they're going to do an Armor's War series where Tony's technology goes into the wrong hands. So maybe it already has. Maybe Tony's technology got used in Sword. So
an arc reactor. Yep.
Yeah.
I think Sir Nerdlot.
I think that's exactly what that is.
Yeah, and that very well may be the case, because if you look at the beam that he projects, it does have a blue tint, much like a lot of the energy beams that Iron Man would emit from his suits. So that's, and not to mention it does bear a slight shape or resemblance to the chest piece, the nanosuit chest piece that he wears in Infinity War and in Endgame. So and I would imagine they would have access to arc reactor technology. Pepper may have had something to do with that or whatever, or they may have requisitioned some arc reactor tech from Stark Industries through some sort of means. So yeah, that's entirely possible.
Or maybe Pepper doesn't know. Maybe it's been stolen.
Yeah.
I think between Pepper and Happy and whatever security they've got there now, trying to hack anything from Stark Industries is going to be a little more difficult than it was in the past.
Yeah, but it's Tony Stark, man. Tony Stark has made a lot of mistakes in the MCU.
Well, and even Tony Stark in the comics made a lot of mistakes throughout his career. I mean, we're talking about a guy who built some sort of giant underground reactor just to see what was at the Earth's core.
I think Civil War changed him a lot. Civil War changed him a lot.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Ambassador, in the comics, White Vision was brought back by Pym, right? By Pym, and then I think he used the Pym particles to bring him back. I did a Google search like the other day about it, because I saw there is a White Vision in the comics, and when Vision comes back, he forgets everything, but it was Pym that brought him back, right? Or is that the name? His name?
Hank Pym. Yes.
Very well possible.
Hank Pym, because Ant-Man, Ant-Man, or the original Ant-Man.
It
right?
was.
Yes.
It was originally Ant-Man that created Ultron, so it makes sense that he would be able to bring back Vision. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the Vision we have now is an adaptation from the comics. He does bear a lot of similarities to the comic book Vision, but the original Vision before he changes to white never had the Mind Stone. He was a construct that was created by Hank Pym. Tony Stark and Bruce Banner did not have anything to do with the original Vision in the comic book storylines. That was something specifically that they created for the MCU and for Age of Ultron in particular.
Because Ant-Man was after that.
Yes, go ahead, Aaron.
So they couldn't do it, right? I mean, they could have, but they introduced Hank Pym after that, and Hank Pym was an Ant-Man. Hank Pym was just part of Shield a long time ago. Yeah, Scott Lang became Ant-Man, so they couldn't do it with Hank Pym as the creator of Ultron in the MCU. Yeah, had to be those two.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I want to bring up
they still could have had it where maybe Stark had got the information or the idea from Pym.
Maybe
because there is no Hank Pym and Tony's father used to work together, remember? So
Howard.
Maybe Howard. Howard.
Did Hank?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Aaron. In the first Ant-Man movie, did Hank? Remember when Hank Pym quit from Shield or whatever? Quit from Shield. In that meeting was obviously that Hydra agent. We didn't know it was Hydra. But was Tony Stark's father in that meeting? At the beginning of Ant-Man. Remember that?
Yes. Yeah. I think Howard was there at the beginning of Ant-Man. So. But, I did want to ask you fellas one question, and this is the thing. Tim, you actually, I think you were going to say something, so go ahead and bring up your point, and then I'll.
Okay. I was going to comment, like early in the season, they did such a well job of keeping things like making second questions things as far as like if Vision's real, because when the whole Hex was formed, well, later revealed when they showed her creating Hex, having that little freak out moment, and it goes all red. But then when you see Vision getting manifested, the energy out of her is yellow. So I thought that was kind of cool in a way. It's like, wait a second.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that scene either. I wasn't a fan of it. I can hear you. It was yellow. You're talking about the yellow energy when she created the Vision part of the Hex, the spell. I don't know what to tell you about that. That was very misleading. I would understand when she was creating the stone that it might turn yellow, but not him. She went ahead and created the house. The house wasn't yellow, right? There was no house there.
Well,
the house was just red.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Vision's the biggest part of Vision's existence is based on the soul, on the Mind Stone. And we lost John. Hold on. And I think the reason why when she's manifesting Westview, who did we lose? We lost Aaron. Okay, I'm sure he'll pop back in. I think what was happening there was the fact that being part of the Mind Stone exists in her. That's where her powers come from. That's why when she was creating him, the energy that was coming out of her emitted as yellow. So I can understand from an aesthetic perspective where it might be confusing, but if you look at this from how Vision was created, because they placed the Mind Stone in him. That's why when he was manifesting out of Wanda, it appeared as yellow.
Yeah, it was almost like a throw off. Like you're like, wait a second. So is he real or is he not really? Yeah. And then I
definitely was a throw
brought up about like earlier about how how they could sense that, like, they could literally track him in the sphere, but Ambassador said they might have put something on him to track him. Yeah.
No, well, because so from my understanding, anything in the hex was real. So in the hex, he was real, meaning why he was breaking apart when he left. So in the hex, he was vibranium.
Yes.
Okay, that's how I made the connection. Because I don't want to think they didn't track him. They didn't have anything on him. That none of that made sense. None of that follows. I couldn't connect the dots. All I could say is that anything in that hex was real. And then she made a mention to that too, that what's in there is real, whether or not that was just a mention.
I think everything that was in the hex was real, because if you realize, even after she deactivated, for lack of a better term, the hex, the town still existed, but its appearance changed, reverted back to its original form.
Yeah, the house disappeared. Everything that was created disappeared, and including the kids, which I think was a huge foul. What did you think about that, by the way? So she created her own vision kids in her belly. I thought they could have written it off by just casting a spell on her eggs, and meaning the kids were just magically grown eggs and they didn't have to die. Maybe they lose their powers, but they didn't have to die. That was weird.
Well, here's the thing.
That was really sad moment.
Remember, that scene was very sad, but here's the thing. If you remember the post-credits scene, she hears the boys cry out. Now, I've got a few theories on that, but if you all want to dig into that now, we can, or if there's something else you want to dig into in terms of the episode, we can, or the series. So, I'm all ears.
Sorry, I disconnected for a minute. I missed what you said. What was going on? Sorry.
In terms of the boys, particularly at in the post-credit scene where she's in the cabin and she hears the boys calling out for her. I have a few theories about that, but I want y'all's thoughts on that. Anything before I give mine?
I think they're in the closet trying to say, "Let me out."
And hey, just real quick here in entertainment, hey bud, it's okay. We all have those nights where technology wants to be a pain in the neck. So I understand. No biggie. So they'll be.
I need a mind stone for my router. Yeah, I don't know about the kids. Because the way they're doing it right now, they're leaving us one word in front of the other. They're leaving us with no answers and giving us more questions. I think with Vision, more questions, right? No real answer. The one character that it's WandaVision. Vision, as far as I'm concerned, that was the Luke Skywalker moment for me. Vision's dead. And he came back, and he fully came back. He not only was he rebuilt, but then he got his memories restored. And you can't ask that. I mean, that Vision is more Vision than Picard is right now being Picard. Okay, the Picard we're getting in season 2 is not Picard. Okay, just sorry, but that was officially the bring back of Vision. I thought that was awesome, kick ass.
Yeah,
but. The kids, we don't have confirmation. We don't know if that was Mephisto or Nightmare or some mutated version of both pretending to be the voice, or we don't know what that voice was.
Well, now here's the thing, and actually Madam Ambassador brought this to my attention earlier this evening. There is actually a deleted scene where the boys are in the basement and they go and they find the rabbit. The little rabbit, Mr. Whatever the rabbit's name is.
Senor Sparky, yeah.
No, that was the dog. No, that was
the rabbit.
Sparky.
No, not Sparky. Senor, sorry, you're right. The dog was Sparky, who I think was the beekeeper. The bunny, Senor Scratchy. Senor Scratchy, yes.
There's actually a deleted scene where the rabbit transforms, I think, into Mephisto. and makes himself known to the boys.
I was right. Nice. Sweet.
So, but yeah, there's a deleted scene, but they cut that deleted scene because there was so much else going on in the episode that they didn't want to add one more thing in. So here's my theory about the voices, the boys' voices in the post-credit scene. What if a dimension warper or somebody that could break through dimensions and could keep the boys intact snatched them, and that's going to be one of the plot lines for Doctor Strange 2.
Question: did we see the boys actually dematerialize?
No, we didn't. That's why I'm bringing that up. That's why I'm bringing this up. I think somebody nicked the boys just before the hex collapsed. But the question is, who nixed the boys before the hex collapsed? Now, it could be Mephisto. It could be Mr. Scratch. It could be any number of entities, honestly, because we know that in Phase 4 of the MCU, they're going to be dealing with more interdimensional beings and more cosmic beings than what we got in Phases 1 through 3. I mean, we got a little bit of it in Phases 1 through 3, but Phase 4 and going onward, we're going to be getting more away from the Earthbound heroes and more out into the into the multiverse and into space itself. We got a taste of it with Thor, and we got a taste of it with Guardians. We're going to get a big dose of it in Phase 4 and going forward.
Yeah.
So, but that's just my theory, guys. What do you all think? Do you think the boys are being kept somewhere? And if so, by who?
I don't have a really intense theory about this like yours, but I could see it being the boys trapped somewhere in a different dimension and just crying out through the book, or it being a complete scam, like someone trying to reel in Wanda to get her. So yeah, either way. As far as Vision, he's definitely going to come and play later. But for him to question, maybe he'll be a little bit more callous, but he'll come into himself later on. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm divisive about that as far as like the memory going to him. Like as soon as you update your computer, I'm not a super tech guy like LDG Pixels over there, but as soon as you update your computer or you just stick a USB with the new information in there, it's a computer, not a human. But then Vision's so advanced, he's like a computer. So, but no, I'm happy them bringing him back in because I love the actor that plays Vision. He's
yes,
he has some really good lines in there. Yeah, but yeah, I don't have any crazy predictions. So whoever,
and hey, that's cool.
Can't hear you,
John. You're muted. We can't hear you, bud. No, nothing. You may have to back out and back in. So,
I would love for that to be Mephisto and grab the kids. He's the one who could keep them alive, if possible. So that was the confusing part because we never confirmed where the kids came from. Even with the whole she did it and all, there was no confirmation that she did the kids.
Yeah, well, and there was one interesting line that she did say just before they closed the door to the boys' bedroom when she says, "Thank you for choosing me to be." Yes, you're 5x5, bud. Something very interesting that she said that I think has some bearing on where the boys may have come from. When she said, "Thank you for choosing me to be your mom," I think there is something deeper at work there than we might realize. Any theories on that, guys? And chat, same to y'all.
I'm just gonna say that is like an interesting way to put it. Like it's almost like it's weird because like if they're your kids, why would you say that? You don't say that to your normal kids, or like, "Thank you for choosing me." So, I mean, you conceived them. If you're the mother, you had them.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Wait a minute.
It's very.
interesting because I mean,
Wait
at the same time, she's not her biological mother because it didn't come from her biology. You know, it was created through. They were created through magic, which is why, as far as we know, anyway, they disappeared. We don't know, but we think they disappeared, but we don't know. So, you know, are they really her children, or is it just something else that's constructed from her imagination? At the end, they accepted her. You get some kids that reject the mother, and say, "You're not my mother." You know, it could have been like that because I think part of them were maybe aware, like Vision was, that they weren't real, especially after they started disappearing. Um, that they weren't real. So in a way, they chose to still be the children of Wanda and Vision. Um, so I think that's why she said that, because they chose to continue that role and chose to continue seeing her as the mother, which is understandable. I mean, they're still children, it's all they've known. So I do see why,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very weird choice of words, But yeah, I kind of get that.
Yeah, and also thinking about how the kids can age themselves, right? Isn't that kind of crazy?
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing is, and this is something that comes from the comics. Wanda and Vision do have kids. Agatha does teach her how to pull that off, but essentially, the two boys were splinters of Mephisto's, being that he shifted into normal reality, and it's a really kind of a convoluted storyline. That channel that I brought up back last week, Comics Explained, he does a whole breakdown of that particular storyline, and he explains it a lot better than I could. But essentially, the two boys, Billy and Tommy, they were their kids in a manner of speaking, but at the same time, they weren't. So
yeah, because obviously Vision's a robot; he's a machine,
Obviously,
I'm sure he's atomically correct. Maybe we're not sure, but I don't think he has DNA factor.
Yeah. I had another thing. I watched some other channels like doing like really deep into fan theories, like breaking it down like straight from the comics. There was a character named Dottie in there that they were predicting her becoming a witch, because in the comics there's a lady named Dottie, and her husband, even in the show, was named the same thing. And they pointed out symbolism. If you look at Wanda's flowers, they're red. You look at Agatha's flowers, they were purple, like her energy, and then Dottie's flowers were yellow. But I mean, later on, we obviously saw towards the end it wasn't. But do you think later on they might steal from that storyline from the comics and have Dottie? Maybe she was just hiding away at that point, just not ready.
No, I think Dottie was just another townie. Honestly, I don't think she will have any storyline going forward. So
yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, I originally thought Dottie was actually Captain America in disguise, Captain Marvel in disguise, but that was proven wrong. God, that would have been awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
because in episode 2, she had all the
theorize about this anymore. I'm so glad that theorizing is done.
My theory, well, there's still more theories. My theory about the kids, as far as I think, is there's two possibilities. Either one, Mephisto grabbed them, and they're still alive.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what she was referring to, where Agnes says, "You don't know what you've done." I think she turned Mephisto into a rabbit, maybe. And so when her powers were taken away, the spell was broken. So he was released into the world, maybe. I'm not sure. Which is possibly why they cut that scene with Mephisto turning from the rabbit, possibly. So maybe that's why, or maybe it's just another trick, like with the fake Quicksilver. Or another possibility is she's hearing the voices from another dimension, and that's going to cut into Doctor Strange in the multiverse, and maybe she breaks the barriers to try and get her children back. Maybe.
That's a very distinct possibility. I mean, I could totally see that happening. So, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's all theory. We won't know anything until Doctor Strange 2 comes out. I think, was it this year? Later this year?
Next year. Is it this year?
It might be. I can't remember, honestly. It might be next year. I'd have to double check. But, I know for a lot of people, the finale had some issues and whatnot. But
I was all fine until that scroll bit. That was the only bit for me.
Honestly, that part didn't even bother me. Really?
Oh, it comes.
Yeah, no.
It comes out March 25th, 2022.
Next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
fine.
Yeah.
Originally, it was going to come out this year, but I think they pushed it back again.
Yeah, they might have, which is fine. I can wait a little bit. If one. Yeah, Tim.
Oh, I was looking at the cast on there. They have Loki plugged in there. So when does the Loki show come out?
May, I think. May or June. I think June.
Not May.
It might be June. Because we get Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, wow.
11th of June.
We get Falcon and Winter Soldier next week. At the end of next week. Which, if you're a geek, next week is going to be busy.
Next week?
Mm-hmm. Starts next Friday.
Holy crap. I did not. Ooh.
But if you're a geek, next week is going to be very busy because we've got, obviously, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and very obviously we have Justice League that drops that Thursday. So.
Yeah. Did you guys see that leak? Justice League leaked out for a couple hours. The Snyder
Say
Cut.
One more time, Tim?
The Snyder Cut leaked out for a couple hours, but they fixed it on
I
HBO
heard
Max.
Something. I heard something about that on Twitter. A couple people tweeted out, and they said it was an inside job. So I'm wondering who the hell did it. And
I think they said it was like on Tom and Jerry or something, but it was actually the Snyder.
Maybe someone from the original who wants us to fail. Maybe
it's a possibility. I know we've talked.
I saw on.
Go ahead, Tim.
Please. Go ahead. I was going to say I saw on Robert Meyer Burnett's channel. He talked about it and then he Googled it. So,
I mean, I know we've talked a little. I know we've spent a good chunk of time talking about WandaVision, but I want to ask you guys: Snyder Cut, yay or nay? Are you going to watch it, or are you not? Or are you gonna skip it?
Oh, I'm going to watch it.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
LDG, you're muted, bud.
Oh, sorry, guys. No. I'm gonna watch it, but do I give a shit? No. It's a one and done. They've already leaked that this is it. This is just a redo. Snyder's not doing anything else. We're losing Superman.
It depends.
Maybe. I just don't like. I just think this whole redo a movie was ridiculous. You've never really seen that happen before. If the movie's done, just lock it away and make a new movie. Don't make a movie that's supposed to be a Band-Aid patch for another movie. I expect patches on video games, not movies.
Well, they're currently doing it with. They're currently doing it with
the Star Wars and changing things.
What he said.
Yeah.
Personally, I try to take the pragmatic approach. Wait and see. Am I going to watch it? Yeah. Would I like to see the story continued? Sure, I'd love to see the story continued. I mean, as a comic book geek, as someone who loves both universes, comic books and or both DC and Marvel, to varying degrees, and a person who is very much a fan of Zack Snyder and his work.
Mostly.
Would I love to see him get the opportunity to do Justice League 2 and 3? Yeah, I would. And would I love to see David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad? Yeah. And I also like to see Joel Schumacher's cut of Batman Forever. I understand. I do.
For every single movie ever, I want to see the original vision, what was intended. Because too often we hear that this was changed, that was changed, and we're like,
yes,
what could we have got? Could it have been much better than it was? Yeah. Or did they make the right decision? So often we don't get to find out, but this is one of the times when we will see, were they wrong or were they right?
Yeah, like the Batman vs Superman extended cut was it was not less, a lot less choppy. It was just a lot smoother. And I'm not saying it was a masterpiece to fix, but it was still far better than what we got in theaters. So I think it's good.
I think they did that for time so that they could reduce the watch
They cut out 30 minutes. Now they cut out 30 minutes. Time.
Yeah.
Now, I did a watch party for BVS Ultimate Edition a couple of weeks ago, and watching it, and I actually went back and rewatched it when I did my my video, and I'm actually going to do another follow-up on BVS because I want to talk about Lex Luthor. But watching that the first time out, not having ever seen the theatrical cut, I can say, watching it twice, it was a damn fine movie.
Yeah.
It was a damn fine movie, and
perfect though.
Well, here's this is, I think, something we all agree on. There is no perfect movie. Even some of the great classics,
for me, it was the ending.
Was it the ending? And hey, you know what? And that's
Doomsday. They should have just left that out and left that for the next movie.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I'm not gonna sit here and say, no, John, you're wrong. I think your idea is stupid. No. But
other than that, I thought it was a good movie. The action, Batman versus Superman, the different models, seeing them, come to terms, seeing Batman change his ways and getting hope. I thought that was all done very well.
The warehouse scene was awesome. The action in that scene.
Finally seeing that
best
scene, I can understand why everybody really appreciates that scene. I'm seeing it now. I can understand where everybody was coming from. I really can.
Because of that scene, why I want to see another Ben Affleck Batman film.
Yes, I want to see, or a series.
Yeah. I would love to see Ben Affleck versus Deathstroke like we were supposed to get.
Well,
we'll just have to wait and see if we get it.
Yeah.
If the buzz around the Snyder Cut is any indication as to how, I'm talking not just the United States, I'm talking worldwide buzz. If the buzz is any indication, this thing is going to blow the roof off of.
Oh yeah.
Off of.
Just look at what happened to Sonic when they did the whole renew. That made over $1 million. And this is DC. That's gonna do even better, I think.
What I was gonna say is, did you see that Uche from Geeks and Gamers is having Zack Snyder on his channel for a charity?
No, I haven't. I don't really follow Geeks and Gamers. I have my reasons, but I'm not getting into it here.
But but I'm just commenting. I think it's cool though, like having.
Yes, I would agree.
You're seeing a lot more and more that like bigger stars are doing like interviews with YouTubers, and I think that's great. Connecting to your fans is huge because we're the paying customer, and essentially the fans brought this Zack Snyder vision to life because he started pumping us up, and then we were like eating it and like and then all the marketing material to me has been amazing, and we just watched that new trailer before this, so I thought that was cool too.
I mean, it's thanks to the fans that this happens. You know, we were petitioning for it, we asked for it, and because of the hype, that's why they decided maybe we should do this. You know, we could make some money off of this.
Well, you know, and here's the thing: this was a fan movement that, by and large, got it right. They went at it the right way. And it's a rarity nowadays to see something like that, considering that there are fan movements out there. But this is a fan movement that understood what their goal was, that understood what they were shooting and pushing for, what they were what they were supporting. Excuse me. So as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I came into the Snyder Cut movement late. And I'll be the first to admit there are people in it that I have met that have been in it a lot longer than I have. But, you know, just being a fan of Zack Snyder, just in general, you know, seeing his movies, seeing the majority of his movies, and then hearing what happened to him with Warner Brothers and with the passing of him and his wife's daughter, Autumn. And
yeah,
I've watched bits and pieces of Justice League, and I can say, looking at that and looking at Zack Snyder's other work, there is a stark difference. So yeah, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to review it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to do multiple streams. I'm going to try and do as much legwork for this movie as I possibly can, because I cannot imagine the pain that Zack and Deborah Snyder went through when their daughter died. And
as a father,
I hope. No, I wouldn't wish that kind of pain even on my. Well, not that I have a worse enemy. Yeah, and I'll bring up Sir Nerdlot's comment here, and I can understand that. Yeah, Sir Nerdlot, I can. You know, I get what you're saying. I do. That's why you have to take breaks from him periodically to shift your focus to other things, and I do get that. I mean, I'm going to do at least 2, maybe 3 streams, because this is a 4-hour movie. I can't cover a 4-hour movie in just one stream. It's not doable.
It would be hours.
So I'm gonna break it up. I'm gonna do 1 or 2 this month. I'll do a third and final in April and everything. But after that, I'll watch it
like they are with this.
So, but you know, if you're a comic book movie fan, or you're just a comic book media fan, next week is gonna be a feast, because you get Zack Snyder's Justice League, and you get Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'll say it, I watched the trailer for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I was intrigued. You know, I'll be interested. I'm interested to see where they're going to take these 2 guys, where they take these 2 characters. So
before I wasn't interested, but then I seen the trailer and I thought it could be all right.
Yeah. At least they're going to drop it in snippets, right? So we can just we'll have time to watch both. Like, we got 4 hours of this movie, and then you have to watch the first episode. But I'm probably going to watch it over and over, because there's going to be so much to grab from.
And what people probably like is it'll be more like what they've had before, so it won't be as deep as WandaVision. It probably won't be as slow. So
that's true.
I think
this is gonna be more. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I think it'll be more action packed than WandaVision. So I think people will like it. I know there'll be some people that don't like it just because they don't like who they chose to be the next Captain America. But you know, that might change in this. You know, maybe the shield will get passed to Bucky. We don't know yet because they haven't really said. You know, maybe they'll both be Captain America. maybe there'll be their own versions. We don't know. We'll just have to watch and find out.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna say Winter Soldier is one of my favorite movies as far as like standalone MCU movies or MCU movies. But yeah, I feel like the action's gonna be like real high octane, like buddy cop type style. That's what I'm getting from them because they're both like playing off each other. But I think it's pretty exciting for like the general person because they want to see kabooms like Fast and the Furious, right? So I got like kind of like the heist feel or kind of like I guess what are they like kind of like rogue or going like stealth style and doing like missions together, kind of almost
essentially.
Yeah. I'm excited.
What you said about Buddy, I just hope they don't make it too cheesy and have all like the Disney jokes.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
I hate when they do that. I hated when they did it in Thor 3. I hated all the cheesy jokes. That was the one thing that was putting off for me. The one thing that didn't make that movie perfect. But I think it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. They're both very serious characters. Falcon can have like his jokey moments, but I don't think it'll be too off-putting.
No, I get the impression that this will have a good balance to it. This very much feel like it's going to be in the same vein of like Winter Soldier, with its aesthetic and with the style of storytelling that they'll have, which is good. Honestly, and just real quick, chat to the chat, the Neon Sci-Fi Neon. Good evening, bud. Good to see you as always. And Nerd a lot. I'm gonna have to incline to agree. I'll be interested to see what Baron Zemo's role is as well, because we did hear him or see him in the trailers, so we know that he got loose from Shield or whatever it was, or the UN. So, but yeah, I will say this. I know a lot of people have made the claim that after Endgame, Marvel peaked. And I could say to a certain degree that's true.
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah, but I think what they're doing with the series, the different types of series that they're going to have on Disney Plus, you're going to get a nice little spectrum of...
I think the series people like... because it's the old characters. People might not like the new movie so much because it's new characters. So they might not be into that. They might not care as much. But I think they'll tune in into the TV shows just to see the old characters, even if it's just one last time, like Hawkeye. I think the shows are going to do quite good. And I think after that, I don't know. I think some of the movies like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, they'll be guaranteed hits. Shang-Chi, it might be good. I don't know. I'll need to see a trailer for that one. Before I make a choice. But some of them, the Eternals, I'm still not sure about. But it won't be like before where everyone was tuning in to every single movie to see what happens. I think it'll be a case of see how they feel, see how the trailer looks, see what interests them, and I think I think it'll still be good though.
Yeah, Shang-Chi character. Is he kind of like Iron Fist? Is that kind of a, like kinetic or chi energy?
That's why some people. He doesn't have any abilities. I think he's just a kung fu master, as far as I know. Shang-Chi. I think he's just a martial artist. So there's going to be a lot of martial arts and Eastern stuff in it. So any martial art fans and fans of old kung fu movies will like it. But that's what that you mentioned. The Iron Fist. People were thinking the exact same thing. We've already got a martial artist. Why not bring Iron Fist into it?
Yeah.
So
give that character some justice. But I mean,
I haven't read the comics, so don't know a thing about Shang-Chi. That's why I'm not so sure about it. But then again, I didn't know about Guardians of the Galaxy that much either, and see how well that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
totally. Well, and Sir Nerdlaw brings it up perfectly. He's like, we're going to get something completely different in these sets and these phases for the MCU, and that's true. I mean, every series that they've got coming out over the next few months is going to have a different feel and a different aesthetic to it. Yeah. The one I'm going to be really interested to see is the animated series called What If, because I used to read those comics when I was a kid, and I'll be interested to see what direction they go with that particular series, what type of stories they're going to tell. I mean, obviously, these will be What If stories, so...
Haven't they already
I am actually...
stories they're going to tell?
Say again, John?
I said, haven't they already said what stories they're going to tell? Or at least
if they did, I didn't catch it.
They're going to do What If... Well, I don't know if you want me to tell you. Or do you want me to tell you?
I don't. As long as you're not giving me like the plot line, I don't care if you give me like what the stories are going to tell.
Okay, they're going to do like...
Excuse me, sorry.
What if
That's all right.
What if Peggy Carter was Captain America?
Oh, I saw that.
She'd be Captain Britain instead. So, because she's already trained, she's already got the skills, so it makes sense for her to be the next chosen one,
I could see that.
And they had one with what if T'Challa was found by, Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was taken into space. They also have what if zombie apocalypse, for the Marvel zombie fans. So that's the big one that people are really looking out for.
Okay, cool.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
There's some other ones, but I can't remember what the other ones were. But those were the main three that I remember anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
So who do you think is going to be the next big baddie in the MCU? Like as far as like the movie universe, who can they bring in?
Galactus, definitely. I think he's going to be there.
They could bring in just about anybody. If I had to toss out a theory, considering they're going with the multiverse and all sorts of interdimensional threats, if there was anyone I'd want to see, maybe Kang the Conqueror. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think they will bring him in because the whole them messing with time and that. Maybe he'll show up and be like, "You mess with time, and now you've destroyed my future. I've come to change things back."
That's a possibility.
I can see that happening. Maybe not as the big bad, but I think they'll do like maybe a big bad like they did with Ultron.
That's a possibility. Although big enough of a threat, he could be the big bad.
Well, again,
I mean, you consider how powerful he is.
Ultron was a big bad. He should have been a big bad, but they only killed him. They killed him off in that one movie, which everyone hated. Yeah. I hope they bring him back. There's talk about them bringing him back, so we'll see.
And if they do, I'm not gonna complain.
Maybe that'll be one of the Doctor Strange universes, where he took over everything, and it's like this futuristic thing, and then he comes over to their world, So yeah, maybe I would love to see that.
It's possible.
Very possible. Yeah. Okay. I'm anxious to see what they do with Blade.
Yeah. I'm curious.
What we're saying.
No, I hear Wesley Snipes is going to do his own Blades. I'm more interested in that, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't say this.
Is he?
Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
When they announced that, I'd watch that.
Wesley Snipes wasn't happy that he wasn't getting a part in the new Blade, so he was like, "What the shit? I'm doing my own thing." So
nice.
That's
pretty cool.
If Disney let him, I mean, I hope he's able to do it. You know, I don't know what the copyright of that is, or if he'll have the rights to the character because he was the character. So maybe he can do it. But if it is, I'd be more interested in that than the new Blades. You know, no offense to the new character. He's a good actor who they've got for the new Blade. The name's escaping me, unfortunately.
Mahershala Ali.
Yes.
Mahershala Ali, who did the voice of the uncle in Into the Spider-Verse. I've heard they're doing they're working on a sequel for that one too, and I'll be very interested to see that one.
I'm good. I can't wait for that one because they're going to have the Spider-Man 2000
2099.
2099
nice.
in that one, so that's going to be good.
Yeah.
Could be
I wouldn't mind
same type of thing, but into the multiverse.
Yeah, I like that character. I played the video games back in the day, and then I wouldn't mind seeing like a movie standalone for him, and then towards the end connect it to like the universe. So same thing with Batman Beyond too.
I like the character. I didn't like the TV. Remember they did Spider-Man 2099 TV show. I didn't like that as much.
It was okay.
I saw the TV show.
Which is why, unfortunately, I think it got cancelled. You know, but I thought it was not bad.
Okay. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap here, but good discussion, everybody, and thank you. And Tim, glad you could join us this evening. And the door is always open.
Thank you for having me on. Nice to meet everyone.
Just before we go, what LDG? What I was trying to say earlier on, what LDG was saying about why Vision wasn't part of the final battle. Again, yes, he is like Data, that he is a machine, but he also has feelings and stuff like that. You know, Data needed a chip to have feelings. Without that, he didn't have emotions and stuff like that. And remember how crippling emotions were to Data. So imagine what, you know, Vision was going through that. I mean, we've seen Vision cry, at least a version of Vision cry. So it's possible that he does have all these complex feelings and emotions that were just too much for him to handle. And so he needed time to contemplate. So I think that's at least the explanation they were going for. Would I like to have him in the last battle, at least for a second? Yeah, I would. But I think you're right that they had enough going on as it was, and they didn't want to put too much in. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If we see him back again, because I thought the Mind Stone is what gave him emotions, like being able to express. But I don't know if that's true or not. But I want to see when he comes back, how is he going to be? How is he going to react to everything that happened? So we will see. I can't wait to see and find out. And maybe there is a flashback of exactly what happened. Maybe there was a recall code that happened at just very bad timing. I don't know, something.
We'll have to wait and see. So. But I do want to tell everybody, I will include the link for Tim's channel. Go over and check out his content and definitely subscribe. This is a very talented young man. And Tim, again, it was a pleasure to have you on tonight. And like I said, the door is always open. You ever want to come back in, you have a place here and you are welcome. So
awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can see why you go by that name. You do like the character.
He does. He much does. I do want to let everybody know Wednesday night I'll be back 7 p.m. and we'll be doing another retro review. We'll be talking about a favorite movie of mine, and that's Shaun of the Dead. So hope to see y'all then. And Tim, have you got anything coming up? And LDG, same for you. Have y'all got anything coming up on your channels that you want to plug before we go?
I have a secondary channel. I teamed up with people from Echo Base Network. We all would go on their pop-ins, so we kind of formed a group called the Snap Crew, like Thanos Snap. But we had our first, So we coach from generous guy. He made us like an awesome intro. I'll have to show you or sometime. Well, I'll have it next episode, but like every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have like a 2-hour show covering like all the topics like Superman and Lois, probably this most likely Snyder Cut, probably the Winter Soldier and all that bigger topics. And we leave it to open discussion, and then we have pop-ins come in.
Okay.
And then have whatever what's on their mind, I guess, to see what the viewer. So I feel like it gives like both the viewers connection or anyone a voice. So that's kind of what we're promoting there. And then we'll try to have guests and stuff, but every Sunday night. And then I need to get my actual channel more organized as far as having live streams. Like I would love to talk with you guys about the Snyder Cut, because it's like 4 hours long. You talk about doing multiple streams. Maybe we can go back and forth or something.
Yeah.
All you guys are invited. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
But my channel is Tim's Talk.
Yeah. And like I said, I'll get the link and I'll put it down in the description, and I'll do the same for you, LDG. John, I'm trying to remember, do you have a channel or are you just a lurker?
I've got a little bit of content on there right now. I mostly join people, fine gentlemen like yourself, for live streams.
Yeah, I got you.
But okay. I do plan on adding some content. I'm thinking about maybe doing my own review of the WandaVision series, get some of my own thoughts. I'm also thinking of maybe doing some movie reviews, especially Johnny Depp with everything that's going on with Justice for Johnny. I want to, show what, stuff he kind of did and why I'd really like to have him back in the limelight, because he's a great actor. He really is.
Yes.
Absolutely. And other than that, just follow me. So sub for that. And also follow me on Twitter at BigDaddy29 for any live streams that I might be on. So check me out.
Yes. Well, and again, folks, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Greatly appreciated. And we'll see you all Wednesday night. And until next time, these are the ambassadors. Signing off.